Alright, YouTube, I built a little stand for the camera and I mounted this bowl. Sorry about the battery dying in the other video, but it happens sometimes, I guess. But I got it mounted on the lathe, and I did just start to cut it a little bit just to make sure I had the camera angle right. And I think it's pretty good where it is, so we'll spin up the lathe and we'll make some shavings. Check our progress here every once in a while, just to see how close we are to round. Wasn't too out of balance when I started, so bandsawing really does help though. So if you do have a bandsaw, that's something you really helps when you're turning bowls, especially if you need to make a bunch of them. It really reduces the amount of time it takes to get it perfectly round if you can remove all the excess material. And it helps to reduce the amount of shavings that fall on the floor. One of the things I would recommend when you're making bowls is once you learn how to use your tools and everything, you want to watch the top of your bowl. You can see where your cut's being made, and you can see the form start to take shape, as opposed to just watching the tip of your tool. Once you kind of get it by feel, you don't really need to watch it as much, unless you're making like maybe a wing bowl or something like really out around something, you may need to watch the tool a little more, but with a bowl like this, it's speed it up a little bit now since we're a little more round. Which is another thing, you want to try to turn your bowl as fast as possible without, shaking the lathe too much or your tool. You can remove material faster, and if you need to do finish cuts, it gives you a smoother finish if it's faster, I think. Like to wipe off the tool rest on my hands every once in a while. You can see we're it's a little bit of not quite round there, and not quite round here. It's not in line with the rest of it. You can see a little edge there. So we're almost perfectly round. Since we've taken off material, you want to move the tool rest in a little closer so you get better support, more leverage on your piece. One thing I would like to make sometime is a a curved tool rest. Those are pretty easy to make out of steel bar if you have someone with a welder, or or if you have a welder. Check our progress here, and so we're perfectly round on the surface we've cut. There's still this barky looking edge here where the bark was. Just check the time on the camera here. I think we're still good. We're going to have a couple more minutes of turning, and then I'll shut it off and do another part. When you're using, your bowl gouges and everything, for beginners, it's really important to learn to ride the bevel. So you want full contact along the edge. You don't want to just be cutting with the edge, for the most part, when you're making roughing cuts anyway. So you just kind of have the handle low, and as you do it before you bring it up, cutting. I probably need a little more tension on the belts, but it's pretty alright. Speed it up a little more. Check our progress here. Alright, so you're starting to see we're starting to get a vague bowl dish kind of shape. So, since this is thicker on one side than it is on the other, we're going to have to remove a lot more material from this side than we are from this side to get it even. So, we'll see how it turns out. Stay tuned for part 3.